I write these words in the dim of the firelight, though none may ever read them. Perhaps that is for the best. The life of a ranger is not one meant for songs or tales told by the hearth. Ours is a quiet work, unseen, unthanked, and if done rightly, forgotten. Tonight the borders lie still. The stars are veiled by cloud, and the moon hides her face. It is in such darkness that shadows move most freely. Wolves hunt nearer the villages now, and worse things than wolves stir in the hills. But the folk of Bree will sleep peacefully in their beds, and the hobbits of the Shire will laugh and drink without care. They do not know who keeps the watch. They must not know. I was born to this life, though it was no choice of mine. My father before me walked these same paths, bearing the same burden. He fell on the greenway, cut down by raiders out of the east. I was but a boy then, yet even in grief I understood. This is the price of our blood. We are the Dúnedain, last of the line of the North Kingdom. Where once stood proud Arnor, now lie ruins and broken stones, haunted by memory. Our halls are dust, our people few, and yet still we stand. They call us wanderers, vagabonds, even brigands. Let them. Better they scorn us in daylight than know the truth of the night. Better they curse our cloaks and unshaven faces than see the things we drive back into shadow. I have bled for lands where none know my name, and I will bleed again before this watch is ended. Listen. The woods are never silent. The leaves whisper, the branches groan. Each sound may be harmless, or the herald of an enemy's step. It teaches you to live in half-breaths, to wake at every stirring of the dark. A ranger learns to endure solitude, to keep his own counsel. Yet at times, in the long watches, I wonder if it is not the silence that will undo me, but the weight of memory. I remember faces, brothers who once walked beside me. Some fell to blade and claw, others to weariness, and the slow fading of our kind. I carry them still, as surely as I carry my bow and sword. Their watch is ended. Mine continues. The fire burns low, and the night grows colder. I draw my cloak close, though the wind here carries more than chill. It carries memory. These lands are old, older than most who walk them can fathom. I have passed crumbling stones, half buried in earth, walls once tall as towers, now broken and scattered like a child's game. The men of Bree see only moss and ruin, but I know their names. I know what once stood here. Arnor, the North Kingdom, our kingdom. My people ruled from Fornost, tall and proud, with banners that shone against the sky. That was 1,000 years ago, when the Dúnedain were many, and our blood ran strong. Now we are few, scattered like the ruins we haunt, watching from shadows as lesser men forget us, and yet still we endure. Still we remember. I walk paths my forefathers once patrolled in their pride. Where they marched as king's men, I tread as a vagabond. The villages we protect no longer know our names, and perhaps that is mercy. It is a hard thing to remember what has been lost, harder still to accept that you may be the last of it. I look at my hands, and I wonder if the strength of Númenor truly lingers, or if that blood is thinned until nothing remains but dust and memory. But then I see the faces of those who yet live because of our watch. Children running free in the lanes of Bree, hobbits smoking pipes beneath their party tree, merchants laughing at market stalls in Tharbad. And I know it is enough. The world has forgotten us. That is as it must be. But we will not forget the world. I was told when I was young that we are like the stones in a river. The current pushes past, never seeing the rock beneath, but without it, the waters would cut deeper, faster, until all was lost. That is the burden of the Dúnedain, to be unseen, to be forgotten, and yet to hold firm. I have lived many years with this truth, though at times I still feel its weight heavy upon me. My father bore it, his father before him, and so too will I, until the dark takes me. The ruins of Arnor lie silent, but I have walked them. Fornost, where kings once ruled, now haunted by wind and crow. Anuminus, its white stones tumbled into Lake Evendim. Even Weathertop, Amansul, where once the great watchtower rose proud against the east. I have seen its broken crown, and I have slept in its shadow. The stones whisper of greatness, but also of pride and folly, of kingdoms that fall and names that fade. Still, when I set my back against those ancient walls, I feel the strength of my people beside me. They may be gone, but their memory walks with me in the night. And yet, memory alone cannot keep the borders safe. Each year the shadows grow bolder. Orcs breed in the dark places. Trolls stir in the mountains. And things far older creep from forgotten holes in the earth. The ruins of Arnor are not empty. They are watched, even as I watch. And the watchers in the dark are patient. I am not the first to keep this lonely watch, nor will I be the last, though the day may soon come when there are none left to bear it. Our names are not written in books, nor sung in the great halls, but I remember them, and as long as memory endures, they are not wholly lost. There was Halion, who held the western road for 3 days and nights alone, while a band of orcs pressed hard from the mountains. He was found with 12 arrows in his shield, and none left in his quiver. When another ranger came upon the place, the orcs lay scattered about him, broken and still. They say he died on his knees, bow in hand, staring westward as if to glimpse the last light of day. His name is not known in Bree. The hobbits will never speak it, but I remember. And Darren, younger than I, with a voice fit for song. He would hum softly as we walked, tunes passed down from his mother. It was he who first showed me the ruins of Anuminus and told me of the kings who once ruled there. He dreamed of seeing it rebuilt, though I think he knew it would never be so. We shared bread by the lake shore, and he laughed when I said the water looked like glass. He fell the next winter, speared by a hill troll in the North Downs. I still hear his voice sometimes when the night is very quiet, carrying a tune on the wind. His name too will fade, but I will not let it go easily. And there was my cousin, Baron, stern but kind. He saved my life once, when I was green and careless. An arrow meant for me found his shoulder instead. He told me not to waste his sacrifice, to learn caution, to be more than a sword swinging blindly in the dark. I think of him often when I move unseen through the trees. He taught me to live as a shadow, and in a way, he walks beside me still. So many faces, so many names carried like stones in the pockets of my heart. They weigh heavy, yet I would not set them down, even if I could. They remind me why I keep the watch. Each ranger who falls passes his burden to the rest, and so, even alone in the night, I am never truly alone. The dead walk with me, silent, steadfast, unseen. It is said that the world forgets us, but I think perhaps the world does not need to remember. We remember each other, and that is enough. The fire is dying now, its glow sinking into embers. I let it fade. Fire brings warmth, yes, but also light. And light draws eyes. Out here, one learns to live in darkness, to see by starlight, to listen more keenly than one speaks. A ranger's truest weapon is not his sword nor his bow, but his patience. The night breathes differently when danger stirs. You learn to hear it, to feel it in the bones, a shift in the wind, the silence of birds, the restless unease of the trees themselves. Tonight, something moves. Listen. Do you hear it? The forest does not sleep. Leaves whisper though the air is still. A branch snaps where none should walk. A wolf, perhaps, but the tread is heavier, slower, careful. Orcs, more likely, ranging farther than they dared in years past. If so, they know the villages are near. The thought sets my hand upon my sword hilt, without meaning to. I rise from my place by the embers, pulling the cloak about my shoulders. I move like shadow among the trees, placing each step where no twig may betray me. My breath is shallow, controlled. Every sound in the night becomes a language. A broken branch speaks of a careless foot. A crow stirred from its roost marks a traveler's passage. Tonight, the language tells me I am not alone. Through the dark, I glimpse it, a glow, faint and flickering, no more than a guttering torch. Too high for a campfire, too steady for starlight. Torchlight in the wild is never a welcome sign. The folk of Bree do not wander these paths at night, nor do hobbits carry flame into the forest. No, this is something else. I crouch low, pressing close to the trunk of an ash tree, and watch. The torch moves, swaying as if carried by an unsteady hand. A voice drifts with it, guttural, harsh, muttering in the black speech. Orcs. 2 at least, perhaps 3. Their shadows stretch long across the brush. They're scouting, testing the borders, daring to creep closer to the lands they once feared. My hand strays to the bow slung at my back. An arrow loosed now would silence them before their tongues could raise alarm. But haste is dangerous. Where there are 3, there may be 30 more. A lone ranger cannot fight a warband. He can only learn, watch, and strike when the time is right. So I wait, heart steady, breath shallow. I am the unseen watcher, the shadow in the trees. The night is long, and I will see it through. The torchlight drifts closer, bobbing in the black like a will-o'-the-wisp. I press myself deeper into the shadow of the ash tree and slow my breathing until it is almost nothing. The guttural voices grow clearer now. 2 for certain, perhaps 3. Their words are foul, broken mutterings in the tongue of Mordor, though I catch fragments enough to know their meaning. They speak of villages, of plunder, of flesh. My grip tightens on the bowstring, but still I hold. Patience, always patience. That was Baron's lesson, and it has kept me alive where others fell. A ranger does not fight when the enemy chooses, but when he chooses. To strike too soon is to invite death, not only for oneself, but for those unseen lives that depend upon our watch. I slip from tree to tree, keeping the orcs in sight, my cloak blending with the dark. The torch flares once as one of them lifts it high, casting his twisted face in a flash of yellow flame. His skin is blackened, mottled, a mockery of all that walks in daylight. I feel the old anger stir in me, hot and sharp, the blood of Númenor calling for justice. But anger is a blade without a hilt. Grasp it too tightly, and it cuts the hand that wields it. So I let it burn low, steady, waiting. The orcs halt, sniffing the air. One snarls, a sound low and cruel. My hand drifts to the knife at my belt. They are hunting, but not for me. No, their eyes turn westward toward the lands of Bree, toward the same villages whose people call us vagabonds. I feel bitterness twist in me again, but only for a breath. They may scorn us, but they are still under our charge. That is our burden. The torch dips as the orcs begin to move once more, shambling toward the western road. I follow, silent, every footstep measured, every breath a secret. The forest is an old friend, and it gives me cover. My ears strain for more. The rustle of other feet, the creak of armor. Are these truly alone, or the vanguard of something larger? It is impossible to say, but my task is clear. Learn their number, their purpose, and ensure they do not reach the villages alive. One of them stops suddenly, turning. The torch sweeps wide, its glow spilling across the trees. For a heartbeat, the light brushes my cloak. I freeze, still as stone, a shadow among shadows. The orc squints, sniffs, then spits into the dirt. After a long moment, it growls something to its companion and lumbers on. I let out the breath I had held, slow and silent, close, too close. This is the life of a ranger, not the glory of battle, not the songs of kings, but silence, patience, the long hunt in the dark. To kill is easy, to endure is harder, and yet it is what keeps the world safe for another night. As I follow the orcs along the narrow path, a sound drifts from the west, soft footsteps, cautious but hurried, not of the forest or its usual creatures. I freeze, straining my ears. Another presence. A traveler, perhaps, foolish enough to wander these lands at night. A hobbit, I think, or a small merchant, though it is impossible to tell in the dark. The orcs have not seen them yet, but the wind shifts, carrying the traveler's scent toward the foul scouts. My hand tightens on the bow. One arrow could silence the nearer orc, but it would give away my position. I curse under my breath, not for myself, but for the small, unknowing soul walking blindly toward danger. The traveler stumbles over a root, a soft thump. The orcs pause, sniffing, turning their heads. My heart hammers. For a moment, I think the wind itself conspires against me. The traveler stumbles again, closer now, and I see the flicker of a lantern swinging in trembling hands, innocent, unarmed, blind to the shadow moving in the trees above. The closer orc lifts its torch, catching the lantern's glow in a flicker that could betray everything. I draw the arrow back slowly, finger on the string, feeling the tension like a pulse. If I release now, one of the orcs will fall, the traveler may survive, and the rest of the band will scatter. But if I wait too long, they will notice the lantern, the sound, and the small figure may die before my bow can reach them. The forest seems to hold its breath. Leaves hang motionless. The wind ceases, and even the distant owl is silent. All that exists is the soft glow of a lantern, the torchlight of the orcs, and me, a shadow weighing life against life, patience against action. Slowly, I step from the cover of the trees, careful, deliberate. The arrow is still nocked, but my free hand gestures, a whisper in the darkness. One motion, a silent signal. The traveler freezes, senses something unseen, but does not scream. The orcs pause, confused by the sudden quiet, their torches wavering. I let the tension stretch, a heartbeat, 2, 3. Then, as silently as I can, I loose the arrow. The closest orc jerks, a gurgled cry swallowed by the night, and collapses into the underbrush. The others spin, alarmed, searching, but I have already melted back into shadow. The traveler, unharmed, stands trembling, unaware of the hand that saved them, unaware of the danger that has passed. Patience, always patience. That is the way of the ranger. In the dark, the world is preserved, not by valor sung in halls, but by deeds unseen, by lives kept safe in silence. I watch the traveler retreat, disappearing down the path toward the villages. Safe, for now. The night stretches on. The remaining orcs bellow in frustration, rattling their crude weapons, but the darkness favors me. I slip further into the trees, silent, patient, waiting for what the night may bring next. The orcs scatter into the darkness, their angry cries fading with distance. The forest swallows their sound, and for a moment there is only silence again, heavy, calm, and watchful. I remain still, letting the night envelope me, letting my heart slow its wild rhythm. The traveler is safe, at least for now, though they will never know how narrowly they escaped death. That is the way of our kind. We protect, we endure, we vanish. Recognition is a luxury never afforded to the shadowed watch. I settle once more beside the dying embers of the fire, pulling my cloak tight around me. The wind sighs through the trees, carrying the faint scent of smoke and damp earth, and I let my thoughts drift. So many faces, so many names. Halion, Dairon, Baron. They walk with me still, their courage and sacrifice etched into the very marrow of my bones. Each life saved, each threat driven back into shadow, is a testament to them and to all who have gone before. I will not be remembered. Perhaps none of the rangers will. Our deeds vanish like footprints in the snow, erased before the dawn. Yet that does not diminish them. In silence we are mighty. In shadow we endure. Tonight, the villagers sleep without fear, the traveler continues on unaware, and the orcs will recount nothing but frustration. That is enough. That is all I need. The fire dies completely, leaving only the faint glow of starlight through the canopy above. I rise, shoulders heavy with exhaustion, but steady with purpose, and move into the darkness once more. The watch continues. There will be more nights, more paths to patrol, more dangers to face, and I will be here as I have always been, unseen, unthanked, yet unbroken. The night stretches long, endless, and I walk on. I pause at the edge of the trees, listening to the forest breathe around me. Every rustle, every shadow, every whisper of the wind is a reminder that this world is never still, never safe, and never truly quiet. Yet I stand here, as I always have, as I always will. A shadow in the dark, a hand unseen, a guardian without name or song. The stars wheel overhead, ancient and indifferent, but I know that as long as I endure, the night can be held at bay, if only for another dawn. And so I walk on, carrying memory, carrying duty, carrying the quiet hope that what I do in silence will matter, even if none ever know. Tonight the borders are watched. Tonight the world is kept, and I will be here as I have always been when the shadows come again.